It's April 25th, 2022. I'm watching the GMA3, the replay of it. There's some things that lose me in symbolism. I'm not quite sure how to perceive it with Mayor Eric Adams and the guy from the GMA3. He mentions to Mayor Adams about Mayor Adams' pinky, or the little finger, which he wears a splint of some sort, or I don't know, indicative of some injury. So he asks about it. I thought that was interesting. But then, and that seemed slightly mild. Then I'm going to rewind to where there was a break in the interview. The first couple of sentences are incredibly, and then I'm going to go back to the beginning of the interview to just document that, because these are things, like the host says to Mayor Eric Adams that he's like, everybody knows everything about you before you even took office. How? Where? Where does this information come from? How are they disseminating this information? I'm part of the everybody that didn't know a thing about him. Why is it that he's even on a ticket in the city and I know nothing about his candidacy, or who he's linked to or involved with, what he's into? Why is there no avenue? I mean, there is a saying in New York that's gone on, which I don't know if it's Esperanda, if it's Espanol, je ne sais pas, non so, I don't know. They say, mi casa es su casa. Now, my question is, at the higher intelligence office of, you got a little sass in your voice, of mi casa, cosa fai, or viens voir. Then there's su casa. You mean the upper house. So this house I am standing in is supposed to represent the upper house? Well, then we have a problem. Because since I've been here, it has not looked like a house kept in order, for certain. It did prior to my arrival, but broke somewhere between my grandfather's arrival and my own. There's a gap. Then they say another word they say, and I don't know who, is déjà vu. Mahut, machtevut, non so, je ne sais pas. But déjà, D-E-J-A, that's 4-letter Kiab words. What are these meaning? It's no mangiare voi, no mangiare noi. I mean, and then they have, and these are just things I've picked up on the street listening to other people. I had a woman this morning, or just now, on our way home. She did not speak much English, but whatever language she spoke, Anthony and I both, well, my 2012, my cat scratch, my Aunt Anucci, and I looked at this woman. She said Turkey, Istanbul. I know nothing about the area. She then spoke, but the word and sound she made for both of the two of us spoke to the heart and just made sense. The two of us walked away thinking we knew what she meant. We couldn't speak back. So that was interesting. And then, I have to think about this. Déjà vu. See, Mikasa Sukasa. And then, but again, the Mikasa Sukasa comes from this gurera. It's not clean in the understate. I don't think so anyway. At Sukasa, this Mikasa e non ci bene per lei. I have to think about this. So that's interesting. In things I've picked up along the way, being like left out on the street just to be addressed and speak to anybody. And then I had a one of the only children that I actually addressed because he recognized me. He asked if I was a Disney princess. And he's just one of these spiritual differentials that are in the area. There's not many, but when they do speak, it's easier to tell who they are, because they are like cosmic nursery. Even though they're not us, they are in this mess with the rest of the adults at the moment. So today he asked if he could hug me like a Disney princess. So anyhow, there's this, and this is what he says.
You said how many hours I sleep? It's hard to sleep. So much has happened in a 24-hour city. I'm a 24-hour mayor. This is the right moment for Eric to be the mayor of the city of New York, and we're going to turn around our city.
So you're doing well, I hear.
Enjoying every day of my life.
Okay, and I had to ask. Some of you all might have noticed. I mean, it's rough being a politician. You shake so many hands that you injured yourself.
Yes, and I never realized how much you need your pinky.
Oh, my goodness. Man, Adams, it is good to have you back in studio. Glad you recovered. And again, our best and condolences really too. We saw the tragedy over the weekend with the firefighter here in New York. But thank you.
This is interesting. He says in English, we don't want to terminate, they want to vaccinate. This reminds me of a multi-stage, non-viral, more parasitic, whatever, treponemia, palladium, non so, je ne sais pas. Then he says that they spent $11 trillion on this COVID. Who spent that much money? With on whose authority? I mean, like, with whose help? And what is involved in this? Why would somebody spend $11 trillion shooting shot for shot? What part of the cobbler and what part of the turnover has answers about this part of the apple? Before I got here in like 1940s, Snow White and Seven Dwarfs knew about an evil witch and a poison apple looking to harm Snow White. Why is it in 2020 or 2022, hindsight has already passed, and it is still every day woken up more and more poisonous?
what does it say to of the 300? We have close to 8,000 employees. They did the right thing. They knew that we were able to open our city again because of civil service. And so we're saying to them, we don't want to terminate. We want to vaccinate. That's what we're asking New Yorkers to do. And it's unfortunate that some educators appears to have taken or used fake cards. That just undermines the entire system. We can't go backwards. We spent $11 trillion on COVID. We don't have another $11 trillion in this country to spend. We have to be safe.
Who spent $11 trillion? I've never heard of this number before.
Safe, practical, and get our economy back up and operating.
Something else happening here in New York, happening all over the country. We're seeing rents go back up. They plummeted during the pandemic, but their rents are going back up, skyrocketing, and no place more so than New York. Is there anything you can do about that? And doesn't that tie...
That 11 trillion ties into something else I'm going back to come forward to, so they're in the correct interview order. This is incredibly frightening. He comes out and he says that he's a technology guy. He says that people don't know much about, they don't know this part about him. I personally don't know anything about him. But little known fact is that before he was handpicked by this Lords of Whatever to go reform, REFORM, by insidious nature from the inside out, the NYPD, in some quiet coup in stages. He was technology driven. Then he says that they're trying to integrate, and for me, it goes back to the street and the satellite mapping and the aerial space with the Telefonica and so on and so forth. Because at the moment, I have seen so many of his whatever in these little shops of horror, selling beeper numbers and cell phone numbers for years. But I don't know who then they sell those contracts to. I don't know why that wasn't shut down immediately. As a teenager, I walked into that trap, didn't know any better, and there was no big brother watching over me or like tapping me on the shoulder and alerting me about how to negotiate what a beeper is, what the consequences are, who these people are that aren't us, but that are here.
Roles of police, but also something that was talked about, possible metal detectors or gun detecting devices. Where are we on those possibly going into the subway system?
I'm a technology guy. You know, okay. People didn't know I was a computer programmer in the early days of mine before.
Computer programmer. By the way, Sanjay was about this color that Jason, 1976, worked for out in Melville. Same group looking about this color, wherever they were from. Same bunch that was working with Frank Falco in Adecco, which is, they said, a Swiss company in Long Island. Where do you report these things to, and who finds these things important?
My law enforcement career. We must bridge technology with public safety. And so when I was elected, I sent my deputy mayor of public safety, I told him to go out throughout the globe, find how we use technology.
Throughout the globe. That sounds like foreign and interior coordinating efforts to overthrow the working government or governance. That's interesting.
To keep us safe. We found a number of interesting devices that can detect guns. We want to do pilot projects. We're still working up.
Whoa, pilot projects. That's integrated with some higher than just New York. That sounds almost like USA or Empire part or partnership with this word pilot. That's frightening.
Out the details because we're going to make sure that we are protecting constitutional rights when we do so, but we are closer to rolling out a pilot project, and I'm excited about it.
Okay, how close are we on that?
Oh, I don't have the exact date. I got to go by with the councilors.
Weeks, months? I didn't say an exact date, but weeks, months, really.
No, we believe we're close to getting there,
okay.
And when we do, we will do a formal announcement. I'm going to send you a text and let you know it's ready.
Hold you to that. Now, something else that came out of that, cameras. Are the cameras working, and what's your level of confidence that the cameras in the subways are working?
Yeah, that's one I really don't care about. So it's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken. And it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.